Mm, mm, mm.
Good evening everyone and welcome along to League of Europe. We are here for F1 2021 action and it is Season 6, Division 1, Round 11 of the Championship as we take in the Belgian Grand Prix at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. My name is James, I'm going to be taking to the stream as always on a Saturday night, and joining me in the commentary box, we haven't even said hi yet to each other. It is of course myself and Old Skill taking to the action, and Mark, coming into tonight obviously, how on earth are you doing?
I'm good. I'm a bit warm. I've got my Professor Peppy, which for those who don't know, it is a budget Aldi alternative to Dr Pepper. It is only 44p. I highly recommend it. So that's my drink of choice this evening. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to this. It's always good. Belgium, it can be a bit crazy. It can get a little bit repetitive with the Kemmel straight passes, but there's always a bit of chaos, and I am very much looking forward to seeing how June gets on, assuming he's racing, because this, I will cast people's minds back to last season in D2, and June had a pretty naff season, but this was his track. So this is, I think, his favourite track. So I'm looking out for him tonight. He's my little dark horse, so to speak.
Yeah, I think that was the race I commentated on with Hayden, if I'm not mistaken, last season as well. Obviously around Belgium and Division 2, Jim did an absolute fantastic drive last season. Obviously, will he transform that form? He's actually just joined the lobby, so he is racing here tonight. He has transformed himself, really. Hasn't been anywhere near the sort of form that we would like to see, of course, in Division 1, but he's only scored 3 points to his name. But the fallout for Portsmouth I'll come on to in just a second. Montana, obviously, well, not taking the win. Nathan still took the win last time out. Montana on 172 points, leading the way though in the championship. Pretty much now secure of that championship, I would assume. Verstappen in second on 90, Rocco in third on 75, then a tie for fourth between Nathan and Cantera on 71. Justas in sixth on 70, with Neo in seventh on 66, Campbell and eighth on 51, Daniel in ninth on 49, and Dylan ran off the top 10 on 47 points. And obviously, Mark, coming on to that fallout from Portsmouth, of course, Justas receiving 13 licence penalty points, 5 for ignoring the blue flags, and 8 for interfering with the lead cars. Justified penalty, I think, given his actions.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the stewards played that one well. You know, we said it after the stream went dead, but Nathan didn't actually do anything wrong. There was nothing that he was actively involved in at all, so yeah, it was a fair call. Hopefully we get a slightly, well, I don't know, I want an interesting race, of course, but I don't want chaos and misery. So
well, we are going to get the full 22 laps, as apart from the real-life Grand Prix around here, where obviously the infamous half points came in, and we only had 2 laps of racing, if you could call it even racing underneath the safety car. But we can guarantee you a full race, no matter if it's dry or wet, and the conditions, of course, will play a massive factor around the track. The longest on the F1 calendar, of course, the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. To run you through the rest of the standings as well, while we've got a little bit of time, Yulbream in 11th on 28, Vaporizer in 12th on 22, Alpha Trix in 13th and 17, Router in 14th on 16, Matthias in 15th and 14, then it's Izza, Jensen, Neil Melmer, M. Short and Larkin ran off the top 20, and then there's Leonard, Doom and Hyper, who did score a point last time out in Portimao on 1 point there in the Alfa Romeo Milan, and 2 new drivers going to be featuring hopefully tonight as well. Luca, who is part of TTG, no bias going to be shown towards him whatsoever, and Jordi as well, the Dutchman, he's going to be joining in as well. So it'll be interesting to see, of course, how them two get on off the racing.
Yeah, absolutely. I know Lucas said that this is his 3rd ever race with no ABS, so he won't be. I don't think his expectations are particularly high. I don't know much about Geordie. I feel like I've seen the name around before, but it's quite a common name. I suppose it's the Mark of the Netherlands. Well, yeah, Mark's not that common anymore, but it was once upon a time. But it could be someone different. But there's one or two in this lobby that will be crying out for rain. One of them has already cried out for rain, which is Larkin. His pace, going off TT, which I know no one should always just take as gospel. He is a bit of a pay driver in that McLaren by the looks of it. Around here, he's slower than me, so that's not something you ever want to see. You don't ever want to see old school 3000 above you on the TT streets if you're in D1. I assure you that. So he's definitely hoping for rain. I can imagine a few of the pad guys are probably hoping for rain as well. He only did 2 laps, in fairness, so I might be mugging him off a little bit. He's biting back at me in the chat, but yeah, I don't know. There's definitely good. I would suspect the pad guys in particular want rain. That said, Montana I think holds the TT world record in the wet, so there's no way out. I don't think when it comes to trying to get an easy little battle from him. We've got VRT Daniel in the lobby, who is the newest recruit, to my understanding, to WOR. So congrats to him. I believe so. I think I saw something about it on Twitter. I'm pretty sure I'm not wrong, but I think he was one of the few that actually went over to WOR. So he's... I'm 99% sure I'm not completely making that up, but yeah, so hopefully he has a good race on his debut, if it is indeed his debut for WOR.
Yeah, I think there was 3 drivers. It was Danerko, Gil and Daniel. I think that were the 3 that's actually transferred over from VRT to WR. Obviously, that whole merge, I talked about it last night on the PSGL stream as well. The whole merge, I think, honestly, it could have been dealt with a whole lot better. Personal priorities, I think, getting in the way more than the team, actually. And obviously, a bit of a shame that obviously VRT has now gone. WR, I'm sure, will benefit massively, I think, from it. And getting a recruit like Daniel is an absolutely fantastic part for them. We are running a little bit late. I think we're waiting on one more driver to join. Mercedes do lead the constructors standings, by the way, on 271 points. Haas in second on 141. Aston Martin in third on 137. Red Bull in fourth on 122. Ferrari in fifth on 81. Alpine in sixth on 74. McLaren in seventh on 58. AlphaTauri in eighth on 43. Williams in ninth on 29. And Alfa Romeo in 10th on 18 points. And we do have obviously an announcement coming from the direct from the stewards, I think, tonight as well, with regards to a bit of a glitch that has been found out, and you can come on to this while we go into towards qualifying.
100%. So guys, if you're listening in the lobby, make sure you press OK on the tyre selection segment. I know it doesn't mean anything anymore because it's a standardised setup and you have to do it or it'll kick you out for inactivity. So hopefully you're hearing this about the right kind of time. I think. Oh, actually, yeah, they've just delayed the lobby ever so slightly. I don't know exactly why, but yes, please, don't go off. Don't go for a tactical loo break, which is what Neo often uses this little segment for, because he's old. He can't hold his bladder anymore. Or get a little freshen up, or get a glass of Professor Peppy, even potentially. But do not do that. Make sure you press that button, get yourself in the lobby, and don't get kicked out. Basically, I think it's a hangover from unranked lobbies to stop people just lolling around in effect. So, and it's unfortunately worked its way out into ranked lobbies, and it's worked its way into unranked too. So. Yeah, it's a good idea in some portions of the online community, but it's a little bit of a nightmare in league racing.
Yeah, it is a bit of a nightmare in league racing, but then again, it's a Cody's game. What do you come to expect when you pay £50, £60, however much it is, for a game like this, and there's still bugs going on? I mean, 3-4 months into the game cycle. It is typical Codemasters at its very finest. We are getting going, though, in towards qualifying, which I can say now. 18 minutes worth of qualifying, around a 7-kilometre circuit, the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, and, of course, we didn't have a real race around here in 2021. Lewis Hamilton was the last to take it, of course, in 2021. reality in real life. 7 kilometres though, 3 DRS zones of course, 2 DRS zones I should say, 1 down the start finish straight into the Source hairpin, and then 1 down the Kemmel straight, through the kink of Kemmel, running down the Kemmel straight in towards Lecombe at turn 5. So basically in the first sector is where everything is at. Izza and Hyper are just needing to ready up. Hopefully they will both ready up in time. I really hope so, because it's just going to cause a bit of a glitch and they're not going to ready up in time. And I think Izza might be the one that's actually taking that tactical toilet breaker, because he's not readying up at this stage.
He needs to. He's got 8 seconds. This is a new nervy part of the world, isn't it?
It's not going to go. It's just not going to ready up, is he? Yeah.
Is he gone? He might be gone. It'd be interesting to see if it actually does come up. He's been kicked out. Hopefully he doesn't, of course. But
he is in on the left-hand side, so I think he's in.
Good. That's good. That's good. Looks very, very sunny for Belgium, particularly for Belgium.
It is very sunny for Belgium. I'm honestly very glad it is, because normally the best races around here come in the dry compounder tyres and in the dry conditions as well. So you would imagine that the guys are going to be really sticking to their dry setups. Obviously, if there's going to be rain in the race, we don't just know what is going to happen within the race. Montana, I think, is one of the first to come out on track as well. Cantera is going to be one of the first as well. But there is a Haas in front, and I think that might be Verstappen coming out of the pit lane ahead. It's actually Campbell, so I got the wrong Haas wrong. Great start, James. Campbell running out of the pit lane, then down towards Eau Rouge and Radion of turns 2 and 3. And the Scotsman, obviously, he had a relatively good race, to be honest, last time out in Portimao. Obviously didn't deliver in terms of the performance, in terms of being at the top end of the field. But Campbell, this could be a track that is actually made for him.
Yeah. Obviously, he is one of the wheel guys. This will be a good little opportunity for him. We've got 2 people out on the mediums. I don't really get that here, personally, because it is a very... it's a long track, so you're only going to get 3 laps in, so that's going to limit Verstappen and Jensen to get 2 softs in. They obviously want a fresh pair of softs in case of a safety car, which is probably quite likely, especially compared to Portimao last time out, where the walls were about 200 metres from the edge of the track. That is not the case here. There are barriers, there are walls, there are all sorts just lying off the road if you lose it, and with the speed you generate around here, it's very easy to go into them. It's hard to control the car. I mean, even here, which is a very, very kind of it's a nothing corner in quality. Once on used tyres in the race, if you get a bit lazy and drop your concentration, I've seen people go into that particular wall. So hopefully, though, we don't have too many SCs, but I suppose that's what Verstappen and Jensen are thinking about, getting a nice fresh pair of softs.
Yeah, you would imagine. So Campbell is coming through the final corner, takes nearly towards the pit lane entry there, but now comes around the final corner to start us off this lap. I'm going to delete off the timing tower so you can see the full lap in its retrospect. So we now come through in towards turn 1 with Campbell through the Source hairpin. At turn 1, he's got Rocco coming out of the pit in front of him, realises on the right-hand side, the white Red Bull there, just getting out of the way of the Haas. And we now make our way down in towards the Rouge and Radion, probably one of the the best sequence of corners on any track in the F1 calendar. Managed to negotiate that very well indeed. And now through the kink of Kemmel, down the Kemmel straight, Dutch corner to the left-hand side. Not that it matters to Campbell because he's Scottish. Coming through the end of the first sector at a 30.2. Now in toward Lecombe, through 5 and 6, and then in towards Malmedy at turn 7. On the run through Malmedy, on the run now down in towards Ravage at turn 8. And obviously Ravage is one of these corners where you can really get caught out in terms of going out wide. It flings you out wide of the camber. Now through turn 9 of No Name, on the run down in towards Pouon, of course, where Coulthard and Schumacher famously had their moment back in 1998 in full wet conditions in the race, as now Campbell comes through Pouon, negotiated very well indeed, got a bit of traffic ahead of him. June getting out of the way to the right hand side, along with the last week's race winner Nathan, now coming through the Fania chicane of turns 11 and 12, and then in towards Campus of turn 14, and then through Curve Paul Frey. He's got Verstappen luckily ahead of him, and the tow pretty much similar to June and Cantera in previous seasons around here in LOE. They now run down in towards Blanchimont, and Campbell was good through the middle sector, obviously purple in the middle sector. It's on a valid lap so far. Now Verstappen pretty much going to get out the way into the braking zone, you would imagine, in towards the bus stop chicane. Nathan is retired from the session, so not sure what has happened there. I think he's lost it coming through Stavelot, if I'm not mistaken. There's a Ferrari off track as well, so I think there might have been a bit of a collision, but Campbell now to the line, 41.7 to start off the night, but you would imagine, there he is, Montana goes out on top, 41.6.
Cantera with a very slow lap there on 42.2. I would guess that 41.4, 41.5. Oh, just see where Nathan's gone off. He lost it on the corner that I was talking about. Just that lazy left, that lazy right-hander. Lack of concentration, that was him.
Yeah, lack of concentration. We saw him get out the way to the right-hand side just before that, about 30 seconds beforehand. And that now means, obviously, Nathan, last week's race winner, out of the session. And he did say P15 will probably be his target out on track. P18 currently is in qualifying, so he is starting a couple of positions behind. June through the first sector, 29.9 through the first sector from June. Must have got a bit of a tow from his teammate of Cantera, and he did. And Cantera isn't behind us, and Mercedes also in behind us. Well, I think that was Montana just off on an out lap. But now June setting up on a lap. We've got Daniel, I think, coming, or Larkin, I should say, coming in towards the final couple of corners as well. 114.2 through the middle sector from Larkin. And now see the British now comes through the final corner. I think he's going to be slowest out of everyone. Now sets up onto another lap. And it's a 42.7. He goes slowest out of the 7 drivers that currently have set a lap. June is just invalidated coming out of P1.
Do you know what, Campbell's lap, if he would have actually hooked up Sector 1 was actually very slow. You need to be doing a 30.0 up here. If you'd have done that, he would have been quite comprehensively pole. He'd have been in the 0.5. So there's still a lot of time for him to find, even if he doesn't get that slip down the back straight, which actually didn't gain him that much, interestingly.
Yeah, definitely. I'm on board with Rocco as well. You mentioned about a 30 flat. He was a 30 flat through the first sector. 13.8 through the middle sector as well. So Rocco is flying on this lap time. Montana out on top, Campbell second, Neo in third. 6 minutes gone in qualifying here around Belgium. Is a hyper. The likes still yet to get lap times in. Rocco now coming through Blanchimont at turn 17. And then, of course, in towards the bus stop chicane, where it has had various formats. Campbell is in the way, coming through 18 and 19. The stewards might have a look at that because that was a little bit not intentional blocking. He didn't use his wing mirrors though. Rocco now to the line. 42.3. What sort of impact did that have on his lap? I think he probably would have gone fourth, I think, if he went full steam into the bus stop chicane there.
Well, he was a quarter of a second slower than someone over basically the guys around him there in the last sector. So it would have been in .1. It would have probably been around where Neo is. And yeah, the QVR driver, a man of many races, that was a little bit sloppy from him, and he will undoubtedly be feeling a little bit bad on that, because it was obviously a pure accident.
Yeah, pure accident. He is in second position though, 41.7. They have got their lap times in early, Montana and Campbell. 4 tenths ahead of Neil though, very good in terms of lap times. Doom is invalidated again, coming through the exit of Pouon. So Doom now not on a valid lap. Montana out on top of Campbell second, Neo in third. Verstappen, by the way, came in 43.2 on a set of medium compounded tyres. Just realised that actually on a set of mediums. So obviously Verstappen's got a bit of work to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a rangefinder lap for him. He's gonna, use that as a bit of a guide, I suppose, for the softs, and it is a confidence boost seeing that delta go down and down and down. So I do understand why some people do it, but here it's tricky because he's only just going to be able to get 3 laps in. I don't think there's any real feasibility of even doing a second run on a set of tyres if you invalidate. So it's going to be squeaky. He needs to nail that first lap. Don't invalidate it, because then he's going to put himself under stonks of pressure.
Yeah, 43.2. In terms of finding from a set of mediums to a set of softs, I would imagine it's somewhere between 1.2 and 1.4 seconds. So you'd be looking at the high 141s as a benchmark time to try and set. It might just be a little bit above him, but that's the time he should be setting on. Milan is about to start us off on this lap. Of course, teammate of Montana. Montana also on that lap. He's coming through the end of the first sector through Malmedy, but now Milan setting us up on a lap once again. I'll remove the timing tower to the left-hand side as we now come through turn 1. Yul Melmat has retired from the session, and again, coming through Stavolo, it seems to be catching people out because Yul Melmat has crashed through there now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's such an odd corner to lose it. I feel like it's just like lack of practice or just lack of concentration. Some people were calling for Nathan to have a quali ban after what happened last week, and we started last, so it's what it is, I suppose. The world is balanced out, so interesting to see what he can do. But Milan looking very, I would say, a little bit kind of cautious here, a bit tentative. I don't think this is his best lap as he finally commits to the corner there, going around this horrible hairpin. No one enjoys this corner. It seems to go on forever. And then into No Name, where he doesn't hook that up at all. This doesn't look to be the best. They're taking this ridiculous esports line. Cody's thank you once again. But he hooks it up perfectly. To be fair to him, and there is some time for the game there. That's why these guys do it. They don't do it for a laugh. They do it because it's quick, and I won't be risking it as he invalidates.
Yeah, he does. He invalidates coming out after the Fania chicane through turn 13 and then in towards Campos at 14. So Milan 14.2 through the middle sector. Obviously not. There is a tyre, by the way, in the middle of the track. I'm assuming that is from Yul Melmat's car because Nathan only lost his front wing, I think, and picked up a bit of suspension damage. Geordie has managed to join in the session. There's a McLaren off coming through the end of Blanchemont as well. Just getting out of the way there to the left-hand side. I'll flick on board. I think Montana has just started up on a lap, if I'm not mistaken. Coming through on towards Lecombe. Verstappen just off to the right-hand side there. Montana through the end of the first sector. 30 flat, and he's 300s up on his time. Campbell as well, also just starting up on a lap. We'll compare the first sectors together. Campbell coming through. He's 1100s up at 30.2 compared to Montana on a 30 flat. So Montana clearly getting the first sector hooked up. Campbell might have to make up the time in the middle and the final.
Absolutely, it's just the traction out of the first corner there, and that's all it is. It's pretty much that's all there is to this lap. He's hooking this up beautifully. I mean, as you would expect for someone with the skills of this man, but it looks almost inch perfect. It's like a collection of everyone's best corners on TT bundled together. I feel like at this point he's absolutely nailing it.
10th and a half up coming to the end of the middle sector of Montana with 7 minutes to go in the session. Is he about to put him out of sight compared to everyone else? Campbell and Jensen. Jensen, by the way, third with a 41.8. Just seen that, so the Ferraris had a very good lap time there from Jensen's perspective. Montana, though, coming into the bus stop chicane through turn 18 and then through turn 19. Montana, though, out on top, but how much time is he going to make to the line? And it's a 41.3, and he finds nearly a tenth of a second in the final sector as well to boot. 41.3. The Montana show rolls on in Belgium.
Campbell with a fantastic lap. I tell you what, I would love to see the onboard from Verstappen because he was dragging around Campbell, and Campbell doesn't give him the same benefit. But IFI Jensen was parked on the beginning of that bus stop. Verstappen must have had to take some serious evasive action. I don't know how they didn't crash. But that was a fantastic lap from Campbell.
Leo goes third, 41.7 as well, so good lap there by the German, puts him there in the mix. Montana though out on top, Campbell second, Neo in third. Cantera has backed off on his lap. I think he gave his teammates a bit of a run. Larkin as well, just setting up on another lap as well. Luca coming through the end of the first sector, just right above at the end of the first sector. 300 up through the first sector, so watch out for Luca maybe improving on his lap. Doom, however, 13.4 through the middle sector, more like it from the Spaniard, and he did say he's got pace around this track as well. So where is he going to feature? With Dylan obviously going third, Daniel going fifth as well, so we're beginning to see the lap times being set in. Hyper, by the way, also crashed out the session, which I'm not sure where he actually crashed, but Hyper also out the session. Doom, though, into the bus stop chicane, coming through, but a little bit tentative actually into the braking zone there, through 18, now through 19, and on them into the line, and Jim's going to be well up there at this time. Comes to the line, he goes sixth, and only 300ths of a second off Daniel, so not a bad lap by Jim at all.
Very, very good. Spaniards having a much better qualifying session than they did last week, so the Alpines are going to be up there, you suspect, as Rocco is on a flyer, and he's nearly 2 tenths up here, and bear in mind, he lost at least, I would say, a quarter of a second in that last sector with the little kind of incident with Campbell. Very tentative here, though, and it doesn't look like the best middle sectors for him, but this is a nice exit.
Wow.
He's 4 attempts up. So I tell you what, unless something crazy happens, he just has to connect the last chicane. This will be a comfortable third.
Yeah. I definitely think he'll go third. He's got Dylan there in third at the minute, his Red Bull teammate 41.7. Rocco, however, now coming around the final couple of corners into the bus stop chicane. He comes hard on the brakes, now comes through turn 18, then through 19. Nearly invalidated actually on the inside line of the apex, but Rocco now to the line, and it is barely a comfortable P3. It's 1300ths of a second separating him and Rocco in the end, him and Dylan, I should say, in the end. But Rocco goes up to third. 4 minutes to go. Montana out on top, Campbell second. It looks as if nobody is really going to get near the front two at this stage. Yilbream and Yordi also on laps as well. Yordi coming out the middle sector, 14 flat through the middle sector, probably not on a good lap.
The gap between Rocco and Verstappen is less than the time it takes to blink.
about a tenth and a half of a second. Doom as well in AI mode. Oh, and Yordi is invalidated on his lap, coming through Blanchimon. Doom, not sure what he was doing in AI mode, to be honest, coming through there, and Geordie is into the pit lane. Rightfully so, I think he'd be quite angry, to be honest with that, but Doom definitely needs looking into that, because Geordie forced that wide, coming through Blanchimon. Doom's AI, of course, with him being an AI, he does take control of that car, parked literally on the apex of Blanchimon, and Geordie invalidated his lap, and it was looking like a pretty-ish good lap from Geordie. But Doom getting in the way there, and I think he's going to get a slap by the stewards. Yilbrim now coming through the final couple of corners as well. He runs to the line coming through turn at 19, and he goes third. He goes ahead of Rocco, so good job by Yilbrim. Always good in qualifying, never really translates it to the race, but Montana out on top, Campbell second, Yilbrim in third. Yilbrim is going to have to get a move on. I don't think he'll get another lap in.
No chance. No way. You've got to be going out with. You've got to be out of the pitch really 2 minutes and 10, I would say, comfortably. You can get round, but you don't want to stress the tyres too much. So that's his race run. So everyone's got that as a reference point now.
Yeah, it is his race run. Milan has just started up on a lap as well. Jensen, I think, is also out there on a lap coming through Arouge and Radion. So we'll run on both then with the Brit. Of course, very good performance so far in this qualifying session. 9th position from 41.8 as Yordi is retired in the pit lane. So obviously not going to get out of the pit lane. Jensen, 500s down, coming to the end of the first sector. Through Lecom, in towards Malmedy. Takes the curb very nicely indeed. And that is what you call commitment. Coming through Malmedy. Now in towards Ravage at turn 8, and then down in towards No Name of turn 9, and this is looking like a very hooked up lap from Jensen so far.
Yeah, absolutely, it's just looking very, very positive, and hopefully what he can end up doing here is sticking it right in the expensive seats, but there's only a little bit of improvement you have to make for all of these guys, but that pressure is going to come now.
Yeah, the pressure is well and truly going to come out of the Fania chicane now in towards Campus at turn 14. 13.3 through the middle sector, the fastest I've seen certainly through there. And he's a tenth and a half up, and Jensen is going to put himself maybe in touch with Campbell for second. So Jensen on a very good lap so far. Now coming through Blanchimon of turn 17. Montana still out on top, Campbell second, Yilbrim in third, Rocco in fourth. But where is Jensen going to feature? As long as he hooks up the double stop chicane, which he now does in towards 18, then through turn 19, a little bit hesitant on the power, but now runs out through the final corner to the line, and he goes third, and he's only a tenth of a second off Campbell, so a good lap there by Jensen. Montana and Campbell also on laps. Campbell certainly 2000s up, but he's just invalidated coming out of Lecom.
Yeah, that's his race ran. Jensen would have been second there if it wasn't if he had a teammate who was willing to give him slip, you feel. And we've got Dylan starting a lap as well. Very impressive performance so far for him. But let's people coming around the line as Cantera's getting slip here from his teammate, which could be crucial. Oh no,
invalid.
Apologies, he's invalid. Doom doing it just more for the crack of it. 0.9. He wouldn't have moved. In fact, he's probably better off staying where he is in that alternative pole position.
Montana, by the way, 600s up, coming through the end of the middle sector as well. So now Montana in towards the bus stop chicane. Is he going to be on top with this lap? Surely it would be. With 10 seconds to go, basically, in qualifying, Montana's pretty much got pole position regarding Campbell. Obviously not going to get another lap in, I don't think. Montana to the line, 41.2, and puts it now out of reach to Campbell, who is invalid, and he will not be setting another lap in. Neither will Jensen. It looks to me as if it's going to be Dylan, and Dylan spins coming through the Fania chicane of turn 12. And he catches the curb, and unfortunately for Dylan, he is out of the session. So Dylan crashes, coming through the Fania chicane, getting caught on the inside curb, and he was nearly a tenth up through the end of the first sector.
We have our first man in the 29.9s in the first sector, and that is Doom, courtesy of a wonderful bit of slip from Cantera. This is worth keeping an eye on. He's the only... Oh, and he invalidates at 2-1. Nightmare. He was really flying. I mean, he was first, essentially. You know, if it was all ghost to ghost, and really unfortunate for him as he is in 9th. He'll be hoping for 2 people to jump in.
He will be hoping for two people to jump in. Daniel, 200 up coming out the end of the middle sector. He's 6,000 up, so Daniel barely good at improving at this stage. Verstappen is 900 up, trying to flick on board with somebody that might be towards the end of the lap. Milan is back into the pit lane, is not on a lap. Larkin is invalidated. Luca is invalidated as well, so we're hardly going to get any improvements. Neil, by the way, went third, so Nick's Jensen for third position. So the Aston Martin up there in third position. Dylan obviously not on the lap. It's Daniel then to watch. Daniel, I should say, coming through the final couple of corners, but Dylan just in front of him now. Daniel running to the line, and he goes sixth, puts himself in between Yildirim and Rocco. Dylan back into the pits. Verstappen's on a good lap here. 700 up now, coming through the end of Blanchimont through 17, and then in towards turn 18 and 19. Larkin is retired now of the session. Montana, though, has got pole position. Campbell in second, Neo in third, unless Verstappen can do something special. Coming out of the bus stop chicane, now running to the line. Verstappen goes 10th, and he barely improves on this lap time, so he stays there. That's the end of qualifying. Montana out on top by a good 0.3 of a second. No wonder he is the time trial world record holder around here.
Absolutely. That was a masterclass. Neo, that's a great lap from the old boy there. Fantastic lap from him. June was so unfortunate. He would have got a very low 6. It would have planted him on third. That literally centimetres there at Pouon. And that is a tough one to take from him, because that would have put the Alpines in a real box seat position with Cantera starting. You would assume on mediums.
Yeah, you would assume so. I think everyone, to be honest, down in the bottom half of the field, we have got 20 drivers as well, so I'm imagining the majority of them are going to be onto a set of medium compound tyres. Set of hards can obviously last around 16, 17 laps if they're really careful on their tyre wear. Tyre wear, though, is quite heavy around here on the soft compound tyres especially. Mediums can go a bit of halfway house. They can go onto a set of soft compound tyres for about lap 13, 14, and then make it to the end on 8 and 9 lap old soft compound tyres. But who knows what's going to happen. We're just waiting on Montana to retire from the session. He may as well not, because we've got literally a second remaining. Montana, though, out on top from Campbell in second, Neo in third. It's nice to see Mercedes being pushed into the back of the garage there, I've got to say, from Montana's perspective. But Montana is out on top. I'll run you through the full grid order now. Montana out on top, Campbell second, Neo in third, with Jensen in fourth, Yildirim in fifth, with Daniel in sixth, Rocco in seventh, Dylan in eighth, June in ninth, Verstappen ran off the top 10, Cantera in 11th, Ruta in 12th, Milan in 13th, Izza in 14th, with Larkin in 15th, Lucas 16th, Yul Melmat, Hyper, Nathan and Yordi rounding off the top 20 drivers. I've got to just briefly go downstairs and do something very quickly. I'll be back in about 2 minutes.
So you're left with me. I'm going to run through a little bit here. The mediums can definitely, I think some people, if they're very good on their tyre wear, if there is an early safety car, I think they could go to the end. It's going to be a tough one for anyone to do it, but the drop-offs here are very, very, very large, and they seem to, the tyres do seem to get progressively worse as they wear here, probably more than a lot of tracks, I personally find anyway. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see what the guys do from 11th to 20th. You can stay in a train here on those mediums, absolutely, but problem is you've got to go very long, and you are going to get undercut, and the amount of laps the softs are very good for isn't particularly a lot, so expect some to start on softs outside of the top 10. Expect some to start on mediums. I can't imagine anyone is going to start on hards. It looks fully dry. We haven't had any murmurings about weather in any of the chats, so we would assume this is going to be very much a straight fight. Anyone in the comments, how many safety cars are they going to be, and who do you anticipate to get on the podium? So while you're pondering that, I will let you know that it is indeed Cantera. He is taking the use of those mediums. Ruta and Milan are not. They are on those softs, as Isaac Kush downwards, all the way down to Jordi, who had an awfully unlucky encounter in his debut on League of Europe in qualifying. They are all on mediums, so they have gone for the mediums route. It will be very interesting if there's an early safety car, because you would probably imagine everyone on soft pits, and if everything stays as it is, Cantera will be your race leader if that occurs. There's a lot that can happen here at Spa. Hopefully some things do happen, because otherwise it is a bit of a situation where the Kemmel Straight kind of dictates the play, really. But let's see how it plays out. So yes, the predictive pit stop strategy, I wouldn't necessarily believe that. The one thing here that I would point out to everybody is when you do pit for those mediums, the undercut might not be as OP as other places, because you've got cold mediums going up Rouge and Radeon. From my limited experience of practice, that does not feel nice at all. It feels awful. And I would say the undercut isn't going to be massively powerful. I think this is going to be a track where engineers are going to play a massive help, understanding where you're going to come out, where's the clean air, and whether you can push. And whether you can kind of go late as well, which you may have seen in D2 last week potentially. So the strategy side, for when they pit, there's going to be a couple of ways to skin it. You can undercut, but it's difficult with cold mediums, or you can go long and hope that anyone that pits early gets caught up in the train behind.
Yeah, definitely. I am back, by the way. We are coming through the bus stop chicane. We were basically expecting a delivery and it hasn't turned up, and they apparently have left us a calling card, and there's no calling card there. So that's why I'm a little bit late in joining back, but we are ready to go here for the Belgian Grand Prix. Obviously, in terms of strategy, Mark has already mentioned that. And Mark, I'm going to come across to you very quickly. Who's your top three?
Top three will be Montana, Neo, then I'm going to say Cantera.
Montana, Neo, Cantera. Interesting. Let's see if everyone is going to get off the grid safely. 5 red lights about to go out here for the Belgian Grand Prix. It is round 11 of the championship. And it is. Lights out and away we go. Montana gets a good start. So does Campbell as we run our way down into the La Source hairpin. It's Montana who leads. Campbell in second. Ferrari coming steaming around the outside there is Jensen. He's just about going to get that. It's 3 wide and behind. Neil Bream and Rocco going side by side with him as well. But now Montana on the run down in towards the Rouge and Radeon leads the way. Trying to break out the slipstream. Side by side action further down. Daniel is ahead of Doom underneath the start as well. Milan coming through there. Everyone looks clean through safely through with Rouge and Radeon. And it's Montana who leads the way. Campbell in second. Neo in third. Side by side though. 3 wide almost between Dylan, Daniel and Doom. Now running through in towards turn number 5 of Lecombe, and now Dylan not sends it all the way around the outside. Daniel catches on the inside curb and there's a little bit of contact. Doom gets caught on the inside curb there as well, but everyone's clean through safely. Montana leads the way. Campbell in second. Neo in third. Izza is losing positions as well. Nathan currently in P15 has made a good stop, but Montana out on top. Campbell in second. Neo and through the first half a lap we go.
Absolutely, and what I find fascinating is Cantera finds himself in 13th. He has to take a avoiding action in Milan, who's gone into the wall. But I was about to say all of the soft runners are the medium runners, but that has completely cursed Milan, who went into that wall. Nasty damage, might even have a bit of floor damage.
Yeah.
He's going to be hoping for an SC.
Yeah, I think he is. Milan down in 20th position. Not sure what happened to him. He must have caught the right side end plate on the exit of the curb. But Montana out on top. Campbell there in second. Neo in third. And Yul Melmath has now spun. Coming through in towards Campos to turn 14. Luca was side by side with Izza briefly there as well. But Montana leads the way. Campbell in second. Neo in third. Jensen in fourth. Yulbream in fifth. Yulbream trying to get onto the back. Daniel again on the back of Dylan. And now the Dutchman on the back of his fellow countryman. Yul Melmath has spun around again coming out of Stavolo. But Dylan in 7th, Daniel and Nathan, everyone filters through safely. Looking at the position gains early on as well. Montana, the top 5 have remained in position, so has Doom and Verstappen. Most positions lost, obviously Milan, 6 positions down. Nathan, by the way, last week's race winner in Portimao, already up 5 positions from the start.
Yeah, great effort from him. It's helped from the 2 guys spinning out, but he's taken 3 people cleanly on that first lap, so yeah, don't rule him out at all, actually.
Definitely not. Montana leading the way. Campbell in second. Neo in third. Coming up the hill once again. And it looks to me the front 3 are beginning to pull away. Jensen might be holding up a bit of a train and behind. Milan, by the way, came back into the pit lane. So he has obviously got a bit of damage underneath that car. Everyone is clean through, I think, in toward Lecombe safely. Nathan on the back of Larkin is trying to get the move done. But he is not close enough. Everyone's just running an extensive DRS train at this point. Montana, though, leading the way. And he's already nearly a second clear of Campbell as well. And the Scotsman just struggling for a bit of pace at this stage in the race. And in fact, it is now a dead on a second between Montana and Campbell. Neil there in third. And Campbell's going to be soon under pressure from the German in behind.
Absolutely, and Montana smells blood, and Campbell is reacting because Montana is using that urge to try and get that 1 second gap that will pretty much signal the end of the race unless there's a safety car, if I'm being honest. And what Campbell is using everything. He knows how important that second gap is here, and Neo is having to use. It's causing a train. Look, everyone's having to use pretty much in that top 6 because Campbell is, and Campbell's giving it up. Campbell has given it up now, and Montana is going to easily have that 1 second gap.
Yeah, and you can't break into Montana's 1 second gap because Montana is simply quicker than you at this moment in time. Montana leading the way, Campbell in second, Neo in third, Jensen in fourth, Yulbream in fifth as they filter across the line once again. Yul Melmass has picked up a 3 second penalty, not going his way so far for the the former NSX man, or former QVR man I should say, but Montana leading the way. Is Neo going to get the run on Campbell? Let's see as we run down through a Rouge and in towards Radion. Neo on the back of Campbell. Is he going to try and get this move done? He is going to look quite close onto the back in toward Lecom, and now opens up the DRS. Will he have enough to try and have the run at Campbell? I don't think he will. Daniel might on the back of Dylan further down the field as well, but I think once again it is just going to be everything as they are. Montana still leading the way, Campbell in second, Neo in third as they come through Lecom for the third time.
Yep. Neo understanding that this iteration of the game, that the corner there at the end of the Kemmel Straight is lethal. The inside curve is horrible. So it's not a place that perhaps in years gone by you do take a bit of a lunge there over that curve. You do that in this game, you're just going to go sideways. So sensible from Neo. You need to make the overtake before the corner really on this iteration.
Yeah, Montana obviously holding his own out in front at the moment. Neo cannot really strike into Campbell's DRS range. He catches a little bit of curb as well, coming out through the Fania chicane. Montana, 1.8 seconds. Look, he is absolutely exploding away. The deployment of the ERS as well is bringing them more clear, further clear compared to Campbell in behind. Further down the field, Verstappen trying to get onto the back of Doom. 9th and 10th position at this stage in the race. Montana leading the way. Campbell there in second. Neo in third. Jensen there in fourth. But now Daniel once again on the back of Dylan into the bus stop chicane. Don't think he's going to get close enough. However, it just seems to me as we're beginning to get a few groups now out on track. Campbell certainly leading one onto the back of Rocco, and then Dylan is obviously the next one, all the way down to pretty much where Cantera and Larkin is.
Yeah, Dylan is fighting for his life. He's kind of hanging around that just inside that second gap to Rocco. He's having to use a lot of hers. Daniel is not, and he's the one at risk, I would say, of getting cut adrift out of anybody in this particular train. Just a big shout out to Cantera for keeping in this train on those mediums. It's only going to get easier from this point on now.
Yeah, I think we did have somebody leave the session, if I'm not mistaken. I just saw a little bit of a pop-up there on the bottom of my screen. Not sure who that might have been. Neo on the back of Campbell, however, still for second and third. They were close enough in toward the final chicane. There's actually Yulbring the one. That is disconnected because Rocco's inside of him, now running down in towards Ravage at turn 8, and Rocco is through on Yulbring's AI car. So Yulbring is the one that is disconnected. Rocco now through, and he's into 5th position. So unfortunate for Yulbring, which was showing such a strong performance, but now, as a result, it brings Rocco 1.2 seconds behind on Jensen, and obviously with the dirty air and with the DRS train in front of him, he is going to struggle as Doom, I think, has spun coming through Pouon as well, and left side end plate damage goes flying off the Alpine.
Oh, that's so unfortunate for him. This is such a good track for him, as I'm just trying to invite Yulbring back in, and hopefully he gets it and he can rejoin, because he was on for a good little race there at that point. Really unfortunate for him. Still in.
He's rejoining, I think. I think he might be rejoining. I can see a red X next to his name, and there was a little bit of lag there. And now Daniel is going to take full responsibility of this on the back of Dylan, trying to get the move done into the bus stop chicane. He has got an AI car on the inside of him. Now through him he goes, and actually Dylan decides to come into the pit lane. So Dylan into the pits very early on, and Verstappen comes in as well. So very early pit stops compared to what we normally see. Luca has picked up a 3-second time penalty as well. Duma's also into the pit lane, obviously to repair his front wing damage. But Verstappen into the pit lane, set a medium compound tyre tyres goes on. Sorry, Dylan, I should say, goes in. Set of medium compound tyres, and Verstappen's going to follow the same. I think June will go on to a set of mediums as well. Neo still on the back of Campbell, running down the Kemmel straight. I think this is looking closer than ever. And now the German on the inside line is going to absolutely sail on by the Scotsman down the Kemmel straight. And Neo was through, and he's into P2. And Muta obviously following through there on Yildirim's AI. Nathan is side by side with Larkin in towards Lecombe. Tries to get the move done, not quite close enough, and Luca is going to get the move done down the inside into Lecombe as well. So good moves there being shown by a few guys out on track. Driving standards so far are good. Montana leading the way, Neo in second, Campbell in third, Yildirim still dropping down the field, hopefully going to get back sooner rather than later.
Absolutely. Dylan and Verstappen need to work together here. They need to be sensible. They've decided to go early. They have to make sure that they don't impact each other's race too much, because they need this undercut, they need it to work. And particularly Dylan, because his pace was looking very poor. As Yildirim has... Sorry, no, he didn't.
Larkin spun.
Larkin's round. Larkin is round, yeah.
He was fighting with the AI car there of Yildirim, might have got forced up on the curb. Not obviously went off as far as Dylan, what he did in qualifying, but Larkin now round, and he's down in 15th position outside of the point at this moment in time. Daniel now on the back of Rocco, the McLaren and the Red Bull looking side by side into the bus stop chicane, but again Daniel just backs off. He's probably imagining that Rocco might come into the pit lane, position his car to the right hand side. Yeah, Rocco is in, so is Neo, and so is Campbell from second and third position, and now Jensen is promoted up to second, but now Neo and Campbell have spawned, and these guys are obviously going set of medium compound tyres. 16 laps is a bit of a push still, but I think they will be able to make it work.
Yeah, they will. They'll be quite warm towards the end, but this is interesting. Daniel, a brilliant strategy. I love this. He's using the overcut. He's got loads of battery. Larkin is out. Larkin has retired. He may have retired in the pit lane.
Pit lane, yeah.
Unlike him. Really, I'm very surprised at that. But Daniel's using everything here. He's using everything he feasibly can to try and do this overcut, because the tyres are, you may have missed, I was mentioning how cold the tyres are going up going up down El Rouge and up Radion, and it's actually quite hard to achieve an undercut. So this will be interesting to see where he comes out on Rocco. D2 and D5 drivers, pay attention. This could help your strategy later.
Verstappen's came up behind Dylan as well, so Verstappen behind Dylan. Campbell's ahead of these guys, obviously, with Neo, and Neo's only 5.5 seconds off Lucas, so they're going to get onto the back of Jordi and Lucas sooner rather than later, so there could be a bit of trouble there. Larkin, by the way, is retired coming through a Rouge, I think that is, where his AI has decided to retire the car. There is a yellow flag in Sector 1 and 2, and it's Milan that's round, just coming out of Malmedy, I think, so Milan is round now, coming out of Lecombe through Malmedy, and Milan now down in 19th position as Nathan has also spun, coming out through the Fania chicane of turn 13.
Awful luck for him, and oh, look who's behind him.
And he spun again!
Yeah, but that's great for Neo and Campbell. They would have been dreading that. Yeah, this is so many names that you associate with great performances, just completely not doing very well, shall we say, at the moment. Really unfortunate. And here we go, we've got Rocco in.
I think Joom or Izza was round as well. Izza was round as well, coming through. Milan was round, coming through. Pouon. Everyone seems to be struggling. It's almost as if somebody's put oil on the track and everyone's spinning. Daniel, by the way, is into the pit lane on a set of medium compound tyres. Where is Dylan? Where is Verstappen in regards to this? I think Daniel might just be behind them coming out the pit lane, because they've already threw down in towards turn 1. Of course, the inside line will favour Daniel, and Daniel is barely going to be ahead of both of them. He might just slot in between them both, and actually, he's just ahead. And Dylan, on the back of Daniel, is now going to get the run up the Kemmel straight in towards Lecombe, and Dylan is going to have a really good run, and so is Verstappen, and the Cuppy 3 wide, running now down the Kemmel straight. Izza has picked up a 5-second penalty. He's going to retire, I think, into the pit lane as well, but now Dylan, side by side with Daniel, goes around the outside of the Dutchman against his fellow countryman. Lovely move that by Dylan. Round the outside of Lecombe he goes on much fresher tyres compared to Daniel, and he's through and he's into P11.
So there's some food for thought. The overcut worked with smashing the ERS, absolutely, but then it worked to the point where you come out ahead and you get overtaken on the Kemmel straight. So answers on the postcard as to whether it's a good idea or not, because I still don't really know after seeing it in action. But unlucky, but he definitely has that ERS advantage, and he will be looking to use that, I'm sure, at some point in the next couple of laps on Dylan.
Yeah, Daniel on the back. Luke is also on the back of Yildirim. Obviously, his AI car still there. Montana and Jensen, when are they going to decide to come into the pit lane as well? Lap 7 out of 22, pretty much on to lap 8. Montana is not into the pit lane this time around. I wonder if Jensen is going to respond. Luca, by the way, is now through on Yulbream's AI. And yeah, Jensen responds now. Wuto, I think, is going to respond as well. Yep, so second and third, both in. Now puts Cantera into second. Fastest of the medium runners so far. But now Jensen into the pit lane. The Ferrari pits up. The pit garage, of course, further down as compared to recent years. So it is going to give a distinct advantage to Jensen. But where is he going to be? He's going to be around, I think, in between the Neo and Campbell battle and the Dylan and Daniel battle with Verstappen as well. So it is going to be quite close. He is going to be in a comfortable pocket of clean air, one would imagine, and he is behind Campbell, much nearer to Campbell than he is to Dylan. So that's good stuff from Jensen. Rejoins, and he is 1.5 seconds off, obviously with a bit of clear air. Campbell is going to pull away now because he's got DRS on Neo running through a Rouge and Radion, and it's 5.5 tenths separating as Dylan and Daniel are side by side as well. Now coming out through the Kemmel straight, and now Verstappen is going to have a sensational run on Dylan as well, and Dylan and Verstappen absolutely fly through, and they're up into 9th and 10th position. Campbell didn't make the move done on Neo either, so Daniel and Verstappen through on Dylan, and they're through into 9th and 10th respectively.
Yep, and Root has now joined this crowd, so that's going to create a nice little train. But it's interesting Montana staying out. What's very interesting is that the gap to the leader, he will come out still ahead of Neo, assuming that nothing goes crazy in that pit stop. So he probably knows that. He's just utilising these tyres, keeping that gap. He'll probably have an engineer telling him roughly what the gap is, and he will be very much in control when he does eventually pit. And also what this helps him do, there is a safety car now. What it means is that he can pit along with the medium runners and know that he's going to come out in first.
Oh, Dylan has spun, and that could be the safety car that you were on about. He spun coming through the Fanion chicane, and there we go, safety car. And that, Montana is so unlucky because he has to go on another lap. Cantera will come into the pit lane as well. But what does he come on to? A fresh set of medium compounded tyres. But he can't, obviously, because he has already, he's on that set of medium compounded tyres. So it'll be a set of hards, and everyone now in a bit of no man's land. Does this favour Montana, or does this hinder him? Because the safety car, he's past the safety car. Luckily for him, Montana can go as quick as he likes, I think, to try and get a relative undercut. Neo and Campbell are obviously not going to be behind the safety car, so Montana, is he at a distinct advantage? I think he's going to be ahead nonetheless.
He is indeed, because the Delta will play. Now, I see a lot of people going on to, I love this from Luca and Jordi. This is exactly what I was going to say. Those hards are just made of basically brick. They're not going to be good. They're not going to get you much out of this race. Stick the softs on. Stick the softs on. Have a go. See if you can chance it when there's another safety car. Because if you do, you could be in a very good spot from nowhere, which is where Jordi and Luca were. So, like this strategy, like this play. It's very much it's Casino Royale. It's very Las Vegas. It's double or bust. But it's a better strategy than sticking the hards on for me than what Cantera has done there.
Yeah, definitely. Montana obviously is going to come out in a distinct advantage, but as you mentioned, Luca and Jordi, down 11th and 12th, they're in the box seat in terms of the point scoring as well, because they're scoring basically 2 and 1 points respectively. Obviously, they have both got penalties, and we'll have a look at the penalties now while we're under the safety car. Luca on 3, Jordi on 3, Joom on 3, Yulmelmas on 9, and Izza on a 5-second penalty. I think that was because of speeding into the pit lane. And so actually, speaking of which, Milan has gone through on Izza, and Izza's going very slow underneath the safety car, so I wonder there may be a legal overtake there. Milan certainly sticking, I think, to Nathan's Delta. Nathan's Delta probably a lot slower compared to Milan, and Milan is now 17th and Izza down in 18th position. Montana, though, into the pit lane from the lead of the race, 22.3 seconds. I think he's going to be easily ahead, but of course the advantage is negated somewhat with the guys in behind all being under the same safety car.
Yep, no, 100%. Someone's saying in the chat that you can take softs to the end. Now,
yep,
maybe some can. I don't think I would be able to. I've got quite bad where I'm on pad, nowhere near as good as these guys. But that's going to be it. It's really tight. You're going to be around puncture territory no matter how good you are on tyres. So, Hyper pits again. Very clever. I like this. This is clever strat. This is the right thing to do. Don't go on those hards. Stick the mediums back on, and technically you have used 2 compounds.
Yeah, he has used 2 compounds, but it puts him further down the field. He's going to be 13th, so he is going to be borderline on the points, but he is on that fresher set of medium compounded tyres. but surely the advantage is negated really by the big old DRS train that's obviously going to form behind the safety car, and everyone is going to be in that. So Hyper, he is going to be probably one of the quicker guys on paper, but he's further down that DRS train as the likes of Daniel and Cantero are further up, and Hyper, he's going to be at a significant disadvantage, I think, in terms of the DRS train as regards to his tyres, which can obviously a lot quicker, and he can probably obviously pass the Audi and pass at least Rocco and Musa to go with it.
Yeah, 100%. And you talk of those two as well. Like they have to. They're going to be really, really depressed seeing Cantera ahead on those halves. They will be thinking, we have to get past this man as quick as possible. We cannot lose that train, because that is no slouch of a train. Daniel, Jensen, Campbell, Neo, and Montana. If you get out of DRS and they're in that train, you ain't getting back in it. So this is a pivotal moment for everyone really behind Cantera to get through as quick as possible, because he will be the break in the train.
He will be the break in the train, definitely. Milan has picked up a 3-second penalty. Oh, and he's actually crashed underneath the safety car coming out of a Rouge and Radion. Can't get to that at the moment in time, but he has crashed through under the safety car coming through a Rouge and Radion, and that is unfortunate for Milan, and he's now down, obviously in 18th position out of the race, and will not be carrying on any further. I will be back again in a couple of minutes' time while we've got the safety car out. Montana out on top, Neo in second, Campbell and third, pretty much through the halfway stage.
Yep, it's maybe I'm wrong. Maybe these hards will somehow come to life, but I've not done any practice on them. The mediums are fine as a race tyre here. It's just unfortunate. I understand why he's there, because he started on those mediums. One of the downfalls of, unfortunately, starting on mediums around a track where it's a pretty easy, the two softest compounds are the go-to, so can leave you a bit stymied if there is a mid-race safety car. 11 laps on those softs. I mean, they are going to still be putting wear on them, Luca and Jordi. I assume they can do it, but they won't feel comfortable and they will drop off. Very interested to see what they do. Very interested to see what Hyper obviously gets up to with his very interesting strategy, very good strategy in my eyes, coming back into those mediums. See how he gets on. Montana leading the way. Neo in second, Campbell in third. Pretty much. I mean, if we have a little look here, you obviously won't see the graphic on here because we are riding on board with Mr. James Head for this one. Montana started first, is first. Neo started third, is second. Campbell started second, is third. Jensen fourth, and Daniel started in sixth and has gone up one place. So it's been very, very kind of, I suppose, meticulous, very, very professional from the guys in the top five. But Cantera doing a great job of jumping up 5 places so far. But like I say, he's going to have his hands full with all of these people behind. And I'm so looking forward to seeing how Luca and Jordi get on, because they are in the box seat. Although they do have pens, which is very unfortunate. They have 3 seconds each. And so does June. And I believe so does... is that Kush has a 5-second pen? And Yul Melmac, who obviously is not in the session, have 9 seconds. So not the best for him, as the safety car, I am almost certain, will be coming in. Now, can Montana maintain this lead? He should be able to. I can't see any particular reason. You know, he's going to have the... He is now effectively the safety car as the safety car races off towards the line, and we are about to get back underway. Neo hounding him, not letting him really weave the car, doing his best Kimi Raikkonen impression down the back straight of Abu Dhabi. Not moving at all as Montana is snaking and weaving and snaking and weaving.
Oh, and they've got to keep a very consistent pace. Daniel and Cantera, 5th and 6th position, just swapping positions there briefly. And Montana, he is going to get a very long run. And now he says go in towards Blanchimont, and Montana says go. Neo, Campbell, we're back pretty much on the way, racing still on the yellow flag racing, but Montana leading the way, coming through Blanchimont in towards the bus stop chicane once again. I've just run upstairs, so Montana leads the way. Neo in second, Campbell in third, Jensen in fourth. All the guys in the set of soft compounded tyres trying to make a move. Obviously they can't, still on the yellow flags, and now we go green finally. Montana, though, has absolutely exploded the way. 1.1 seconds the gap. Neo in second, Campbell in third. The DRS, of course, will come online on lap 14, providing we don't get another safety car. But Montana, absolutely perfect restart.
Absolutely. Feel very sorry for Ecos Hyper because he has been trapped behind the ghost of Yulbream and he's got those two soft runners ahead. They are just going to peel off. So really tough for them. That train has already broken, as we spoke about, and it has broken from Neo to Montana as well. But I tell you what, Cantera doing a very good job on those halves. He's keeping it dialed in. He's keeping up with the snake, and they will be all hoping he can keep doing that. As Willem picks up a pen as he's
pulling off.
Pulling off. Yeah, he's.
I think he might have made a mistake. There was a little bit of contact, I think, maybe. I rode on board with that, and you'll remember it looked as if he was around, I think it was June sort of area, and he might have been side by side with them, and there might have been a little bit of contact on the end plate from Yul Melmath, but I have to confirm that and wait and see. But Montana, 2.4 seconds out in front. Those fresh mediums coming to absolute good effect, and Montana is probably going to just dominate this race. We may as well invite him for an interview now, I think. Lap 12 out of 22. Montana leads the way, Neo in second, Campbell in third, and everyone else behind doing well. As you mentioned, Cantera doing well on that set of hards, but he is just beginning to lose the back of Daniel slightly. He's going to bring Verstappen into play. The guys in the soft compound and tyres as well, Luca and Yordi, have not made any moves so far. Obviously still 10th and 11th position underneath that safety car, obviously with Hyper up into 12th position and getting ahead of June, which was crucial. And now Montana still leading the way. You already thought about a move on the back of Luca, doesn't get the move done, and now they continue up once again through the bus stop chicane. Montana 3.2 seconds clear, fastest lap of the race, and you can pretty much say job is done.
Unless something very strange happens, it is looking like it is done, as what isn't done is the battle for second and the battle for the last podium place as well, because Neo obviously is not going to have any DRS from a man that is checked out up the road, and obviously it's not active this lap, but it will be next lap. And Campbell probably sat there thinking, no, I don't really want to be the head of this train overly, thank you very much, I'll sit behind you, sir, and you can take this particular corner and I will see you next lap, I think will be his approach.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Campbell obviously wants to try and get onto the back of Neo. He's got to do that in a good fashion. Obviously, the German is under pressure from Campbell in behind. Jensen doing a good job as well. Solid race so far from the Brit. Daniel in behind as well, doing a solid job. But again, these guys on a set of soft compounded tyres, Luca and Yordi, they cannot go anywhere. On that compounded tyre, they are stuck in a DRS train. They will not get through anyone unless there's a safety car, and everyone pretty much comes in ahead of them, and then the promoted to the lead of the race. But Montana doing a good job out on top. 4.1 seconds. Gap is consistently extending outwards, and Montana's doing an absolute sterling job through the field as well. Thought I saw a little bit of a spin there from somebody, but it's not. Montana still leading the way. Verstappen now on the back of Cantera. Cantera had an awful run coming out through Stavolo, and now Verstappen tucks back into the slipstream, doesn't use up any ERS to try and negate this, and now coming through Blanchimont once again. I don't think Verstappen is going to be close enough, but Cantera now is just beginning to lose the touch on the back of Daniel. The only thing that's keeping him in it is the DRS.
Yeah, Verstappen will be okay. You know, he can see Cantera is still very much in DRS range of Daniel, but he will be wanting to get past fairly soon because he knows at some point that won't be the case. But to be fair, if Cantera can stay in it, maybe the tyres go back towards him right at the end of the race. So it's a tough one actually.
Yeah, quite possibly. Campbell now on the back of Neo, uses up the ERS coming out of Radion, and now this is about as close as ever as compared to Neo, but Neo is using up that ERS as well. Campbell is going to slide down on the inside line to try and get this route done in toward Lecombe. Job done for Campbell. He's through and he's into P2. Verstappen trying to follow through as well on Cantera, and Nathan and Hyper fighting further down the field, and there's contact between them both. Nathan, I think, came across there, and Hyper, otherwise he got caught on the inside curb and spun the car, so Hyper is round out of the point scoring position. Yulbrim's AI now goes ahead of him as well, so Hyper either got caught up in the curb or there was a bit of contact between himself and Nathan. Nathan may have left him short of room. One of the two things happened there. Hyper, however, down in P16 regardless.
That was very, very, very unfortunate and not the kind of.
Oh, it's Lucas, sorry to cut in. Lucas going around the outside line, in toward the Fania chicane. Is he going to get the move done? Oh. That's just silly. That is just silly from Luca. Position your car like that down the inside line. It's only going to work one way, and you're going in the wall. And Luca, that was honestly pretty much the worst piece of driving I think I've seen all season.
Wow, that's quite hard. I mean, he didn't have any business sticking his nose in there. Yeah. You need to back out at that point. I get he wants to get past. I get he knows that his tyres have a shelf life, but yeah, no, not the right place. And that will be a learning curve for him. Third race on, no assists, so he will be getting still used to that, and he'll look back and hopefully he'll take something from it.
Yeah, I mean, if it's a third race and no assist, then I can give him a little bit of leeway. But again, sticking your nose down the inside line when you're off camber as well, coming into the Fania chicane, to try and get that move done, just a little bit silly. And I think if he watches that back, he will probably realise his mistake and he will take the full blame for it. Montana leading the way. Regardless, Campbell in second. Rocco, by the way, has been overtaken now by Yordi, and Yordi's flown past on Rocco down and towards Lecombe. Halfway down the Kemmel Straight, that move was done, and Yordi is through, and he's into P9. So the set of softs now beginning to come online. He has passed one. Can he now get onto the back of Ruta? Those tyres still look very fresh. He's already caught 0.3 of a second on the back of Ruta, and Ruta obviously having a bit of an unknown race so far as well with regards to that. But Ruta on a set of mediums, Yordi on a set of softs, probably only going to go one way, you would imagine, if Yordi can get the move done on Ruta.
Absolutely. Ruta's had a bit of a... If he was a corner around Spa to sum up his race, it would be no name. He's just kind of been there, hasn't he? He hasn't done tons wrong or tons right, but you know what? If I'm Rocco, even though he's losing so much time, this might not be the end of the world, because he was going to lose that DRS, I think, to Ruta anyway. So actually, having Yordi on those kind of potentially decomposing tyres fairly shortly isn't the worst words of all. Yordi goes very wide, and actually this might actually help Rocco stay in the train, ironically getting overtaken. But long way to go on it, and Yordi's tyres will eventually start to go.
Yeah, still a long way to go. Yordi obviously doing a fantastic job in terms of his pace so far. He's on a set of soft compound tyres. They're beginning to split again into two groups. Campbell's holding the own in second position. Jensen looks like he's going to get Neo, I think. Maybe down the Kemmel Straight. If Jensen's quick enough, he can try and get the run. It really comes from the exit of the source. If he can get a good run out of the source, which he has kind of done with that EOS management, puts him within 3.5 tenths. And if Neo makes makes a slight mistake coming through a Rouge and Radion, and now Jensen 4.5 tenths down, he's not going to make the move done, and actually he's going to come under pressure from Daniel possibly in behind, but Jensen's pace beginning to get him into it, coming now alongside. I don't think he's going to get the move done. Neil was quite close as well. Nathan now and Rocco side by side in toward Lecombe. These two very good old rivals. Nathan tries to sail it all around the outside line, takes a steam policeman, job not done. Rocco stays in 10th.
No, they just get away with that sensible driving, but look, they've now dropped out of that train to Yordi. They're going to need to make a bit of time up on him to keep in that little groove, unfortunately. But Cantera, do you know what? Fair play to him. Fantastic effort on these hards, by the way. Sticking in. He's completely proved me wrong. I completely lambasted him for that tactical decision, but actually it's working out better than Yordi's, isn't it? Because Yordi's tyres are only going to get worse. Cantera's are only going to be comparatively better to those around him every single second this race goes on. So yeah, shows what I know, shows why I'm in D2 and Cantera is in D1, and that's one of many reasons. But yeah, strategy, he's got me there.
Yeah, but I mean, you said about Larkin earlier on, and look where Larkin is, right down the back of the field and DNFing out of the race. Montana leading the way. Very unfair comment towards Larkin there. I apologise. Montana out on top, Campbell in second. Nathan side by side with Rocco, dips over the curb, and Nathan, I think, completed that one a little bit bombastically, if I've got to say. And Nathan now in P10, Rocco him now in P11. Let him go. He's obviously on fresh set of medium compounded tyres compared to Rocco, 3-lap fresher tyres. But now, Nathan has already pulled nearly a second clear of Rocco. Yildirim's AI, by the way, is into the pit lane. He's probably going to go on for a set of soft compounded tyres. Imagine the scenes if he steals the fastest lap.
Jensen looking very dangerous here on Neo. See, the problem is I feel like Neo is having to keep an eye on Jensen, so he can't just save his battery. He's using quite a bit of it. I think he's actually struggling out of the three of these guys. He needs to use, unfortunately, he can't just save. Jensen has that pace advantage, so he can save and Campbell obviously is having to use some battery because he doesn't have the pleasure of DRS. So you would favour, even though the laps are running out, I would say this is a complete three-way split between who's going to come second in this race. Jensen has the pace, but he's also 2 places down on Campbell.
Yeah, I've got to be honest though, don't discount Daniel or Cantera. They've looked like they've got the pace. Daniel just took a little bit much curb coming through the Fania chicane, through turn 12 there. But Daniel there in P10, and Yordi has spun through the Fania chicane. Luckily got the car going again. Right side end plate damage on the car, however, for Yordi. And Yordi now outside of the points promote is into the points, and Yordi now 2.5 seconds behind. He will be coming back into the pit if he can make it round, which I think he will be able to. But Yordi now pretty much out of contention. Montana leading the way, Campbell in second, Neo in third. What I was about to say, Daniel on the back of Jensen. I've got to say, Daniel's now looking quicker than Jensen, Neo and Campbell all combined ahead. And honestly, if Daniel can get a little bit of a run on Jensen, if one of them makes a mistake, it's going to open up a whole can of worms, and it's really going to bring him into play. And Cantera and Verstappen are not out of this either. Verstappen gives a little bit of a love tap to Cantera coming through turn 1, but now, all of a sudden, Neil looks like he's on the back of Campbell once again, and using up that deployment up in towards the Rouge and Radion, carries the speed through there. Will he get the run on the back of Campbell? I doubt it.
Yeah, he's being sensible here. He's not using it because the biggest thing for him is if he can not use it and save it, knowing that Jensen isn't going to get past, that's money in the bank for him for when he can use it later on down the line. Verstappen, keep an eye on. That's always your dream is. Oh no, apologies, Jordi's got in the pit. Keep an eye on Verstappen. Verstappen is looking into that first corner as an overtaking opportunity because in that train it becomes one. Because people probably sleep a little bit thinking that they don't need to defend into there, and he had a look on Cantera, that's why they ended up so close. So I think that's a strategy play from him. He's going to try and get that done. Keep an eye out.
Yildirim's AI is trying to go through on Yordi. That was nearly a good overtake by his AI. That was the funniest moment I think I've seen all season. The AI actually going for a move. Yildirim doesn't manage to get the move done on Yordi for 14th position. What has my life become? Jensen on the back of Neo, 3rd and 4th position currently. Campbell just beginning to pull away slightly, but now Jensen once again looks on fire. This final sector is it's the best really he's at through the final sector. Montana obviously, you can discount him out of the race swim because he's absolutely flown this, as now we've got a yellow flag, and I think it's Luca that has ran through Pouon, ran wide completely coming out through Pouon, and Lucan's still down in P16, so didn't lose any positions luckily. Campbell now, Neil suddenly all of a sudden gets onto the back down towards the source, and he's looking as bad as close as ever.
As Jensen using some battery there to get up close. It's funny, in the middle of the train, the overtaking spots that aren't normal are actually the best places. So down the back straight and into turn 1. Jensen really attacking Neo here. Neo,
3 wide?
It's going to be, isn't it?
2 wide, certainly. Jensen's going to try and look down the inside line, and actually it's only Neil that gets the move done on Campbell. And I think that was smart driving, to be honest, from Jensen. He could have easily dived it down the inside line there, but I think he's done the right thing to actually just wait and behind. Campbell's tyres look like they're beginning to go off. Jensen has been saving up his tyres throughout, and Campbell now all of a sudden looks like he's on the back foot, and you just saw a little bit of a slight slide coming out of no name. Montana still leading the way, Neo in second, Campbell in third, and otherwise, well, I think we are pretty much now in the realms of no VSEs and no safety cars towards the end of the race either. So Jensen pretty much has got to make this move done sooner rather than later.
Yeah, 100%, and that was really unfortunate. He was kind of a bit boxed in there. I think he had the natural run, potentially, but just, unfortunately, he's still got so much battery though. It's so impressive, but there's no point having any. You don't get any points for having any left at the end of the race, as he is using it now, and Campbell is a sitting duck. He's going to have to use himself. He doesn't want to. You can tell he's like, no, please don't make me use it here. This is not the place I need to use this. And they are all concertinaing here.
Smart.
And I tell you what, yeah, clever. Just bring all he has to do is bring the crowd back together now. That's all he has to do. He's in the absolute box seat. Actually saying that, Daniel's got an absolute more ERS. So, you know, at this point, Neo and Campbell, after leading this peloton, I would say are really, if one of them, even if one of them make the podium at this point, I think it's a fantastic achievement.
Yeah, definitely. Jensen, however, again, looking as close as ever. Just taking a bit of speed away coming through a Rouge and Radio, but now picks it up again because he uses the deployment. He's got about 50% of VRS, and look at Campbell. He's now going to be on the back of Neo, and again, we could get the 3 wide scenario. Campbell comes across on Jensen. Needing a bit of contact between them both, a bit of wheel banging. Everyone gets away with that relatively unscathed. Daniel's now on the back of Jensen. Everyone, luckily keeps the cars going in the right direction. Obviously, no VSCs or safety cars pretty much towards the end of the race, but Jensen, that was a half-hearted moment if I've ever seen one. Trying to force it on the outside line. I think Campbell on the inside line realised he was there, just shut the door slightly, and that's why there was the bit of contact.
Really clever driving from Neo, because he positioned his car in a way that he thought, I'm going to stick it here because I know Campbell's going to go down the inside, which is going to completely box in Jensen. So very intelligent driving from him, and if he somehow keeps this second place, it's just his old man them, you know, his experience is coming out to play here. There's a phrase in boxing when a young up-and-coming talent fights someone perhaps not even as good, but they just got that wise old head on their shoulders. They sometimes come unstuck. This could be an example of old manning people like Jensen, Daniel and Campbell, whose ages I think add up barely to an old age pensioner. So
Neo has just locked up actually into the bus stop chicane. He just locked up there slightly, and now Daniel on the back once again, and 4/10 of a second it is. Penultimate lap of the race here in Belgium. One imagines that this is going to be an absolute thriller towards the end of the race. Montana leads the way. He can discount him out for the race win. He has done this absolutely easily. Out on track, a domination drive once again. What can you expect from Montana, however? Neo, Campbell and Jensen, second, third and fourth. Daniel not out of this, and it looks like it's between these four. Cantera now drops off the back. Jensen once again on the back of Campbell. Is the car position going to be on spot this time? No, it's going to be 3 wide. Jensen's almost on the grass, and he now going to take them both down the inside line into Lacombe. Just about, and Campbell actually gets them both. So Campbell through, and he's into P2. Jensen into P3. The old man wisdom rubbing out on Jensen, and Daniel nearly gets caught in the back, and it's a good save from Daniel. Keeps the car in the right direction, but now all of them are swamping around Neo, and Campbell still in P2, Jensen in P3, Neo down in P4. That old man wisdom, I think, coming back to haunt him.
Yeah, he needs to not use it now. Actually, do you know what? This isn't the worst place to be in for. Yeah, he just needs to just keep in touch with these guys. Jensen will be loving this. This is music to his ears. Even though he didn't get the move, he's in pound seat. He's got a car between him and Daniel, who probably realistically is his biggest threat.
Oh, Yordi! Yordi's crash coming out of Malmedy, and that is Ram. Obviously, no VSCs or safety cars. You can continue on.
Daniel is going to get this overtake done. I tell you what, Neo is a sitting duck. Unfortunately, Cantera might even potentially get a bit interested here if he's got any wits about him.
As Neo's rear's beginning to overheat slightly, and now Daniel's actually going to take full advantage. Here he goes around the outside into the bus stop chicane. McLaren and the Aston Martin fighting side by side, and Daniel makes that move stick beautifully. What a move, and Neo's tyres are shot. Surely Daniel is through, he's in the wall. Cantera in the wall. Coming out of the final corner, so unfortunate. He was on the side of hard compounded tyres, behind Verstappen, behind Reuter, I think, as well. And Cantera has spun out of the final corner. No damage as well, on the front wing damage as well on that car, as you can see. No front wing at all, and Cantera now out of the points, you would imagine. Izza, by the way, also spun coming out of Stavilo, which we didn't pick up on. Jensen now for P2. It's all kicking off here in Belgium, and Jensen absolutely wraps up second position. Now on Campbell, running down the Campbell straight. He's got the job done, and now Verstappen on the back of Neo, not going to get the job done, and Verstappen still on the back of Neo, and these three, Jensen, Campbell, Daniel, still fighting out for P2, but it now looks like Jensen on that fresher strategy has absolutely done this the hard way, but he is going to finish in P2 by the looks.
Fantastic racecraft from him, and talking of fantastic racecraft, I think Daniel's going to get Campbell down the back straight.
Yep. He's
got so much as Campbell does not. This has been a brave fight from Campbell and Neo. Heading up the train, but you can see here he's already derating. It's a sad way to end, unfortunately, but I think this could be Daniel's, and it's like you said, you pointed it out actually. Daniel was very quick, and Jensen, and I think it's going to be his.
It is going to be his. We'll have to wait and see. Montana is coming around the final corner into the bus stop. Chicane will run on board with the Mercedes. I will fight back to Daniel and Campbell very soon indeed. It's looking like it's going to be quite close between them both, but Montana comes across the line to win, and now Daniel on the outside line of Campbell running in towards the bus stop. Chicane. Campbell late on the brakes, the Scotsman just about gets that car stopped. Daniel on the inside line. Bit of a forceful barge there from Daniel, and Daniel is through, and Campbell to the line. It's Daniel who gets it by a tenth of a second. That is not a tenth of a second coming across the line, but Daniel across the line to finish in third, Campbell in fourth, Neo in fifth. I think Neo actually got Verstappen in through the final corner as well. Verstappen picked up a 3-second penalty on the exit of the final corner, so he's down in seventh. Nathan in eighth somehow, far from his 15th position place that he was expecting. Doom in ninth, Rocco in 10th, Hyper in 11th, Izza in 12th. 5-second unserved penalty. Do you know what? Cantera still could get him. Cantera across the line does get him and picks up the final point with no front wing, so I think Cantera at least picks out a point. Yulbream we are waiting on coming around the final corner. His AI has actually beat 2 cars home, which is unbelievable. Yulbream across the line to finish in 14th. Luca and Yulmamat, not their races at all. Luca on his debut, of course, here in LOE, across the line to finish in 15th. And that is that, because I think Yulmamat might have just crashed coming through. I'm not sure. He was still going, I think, but he might have been going in AI mode. But driver of the day, what about the in-game fans? Nathan somehow.
Yeah. I mean, he had a sensible. I mean, I think he actually had 1 or 2 incidents actually out there. To be fair, Montana, that's an interesting winning celebration from him. Yeah, very very interesting podium. You called it. I certainly did not. To be fair, but you spotted that early and fair play. So it's going to be a fantastic win from Montana, who probably his sponsors will be very annoyed because I don't think we gave them much screen time today because he just checked out, didn't he?
He did just check out, and honestly, it just comes to show the domination form from Montana. An absolute domination win once again, extends his championship lead even further. Need we say more about him? He's won the race, and he has done that from pole position as well. Didn't pick up the fastest lap, so no Grand Slam for Montana. Montana out on top from Jensen in second. Daniel in third drove a very good race. Both of them, I think, deserve to be maybe joint drivers of the day. Campbell there in fourth with Neo in fifth. Wootzer came under as an underdog coming into start as well. 12th up to 6th. Good performance from him. Verstappen in 7th as a result of the 3-second penalty. Will not look into that getting removed. He will just be ahead of Verstappen if it does. Nathan in 8th. Doom in 9th. Rocco in 10th. Hyper in 11th. Cantera after that crash coming out the final corner onto the final lap of the race. Still finishes in the points. Izza, Yulbream, Luca and Yulmelmat also finish. Yordi, Milan, Dylan and Larkin do not. And we will get the top 3 in, I am sure. But once again, Montana domination as we go into, I think, our week's break. I think it is. I hope it is.
I don't know. Is there a break? I didn't have a feeling there wasn't a break all season.
There is. There is a break. After tonight, there is a 1-week break between now and Monza, so we'll be back on the 5th and 6th of November.
Oh, okay. Fair play. So,
give my voice a rest on a Saturday night, I think.
Yeah, I don't blame. Yeah, I mean it's it's a good, nice section to break up the season as well, because we have the back-to-back Italian races. I think that's the first time ever in history we've raced back-to-back in the same country in this league. So that's a nice achievement.
It is a nice achievement, definitely. Jensen has just managed to join us in the commentary box. Hopefully we'll be able to get Montana in. Obviously, we're not running on Verstappen to try and get him in tonight because of his settings. I wish I had him on my friends list. I should have put him on my friends list. But hopefully Montana will be able to join us very soon indeed for interviews. And we are waiting, of course, on our man who finished in P3. And that, of course, was Campbell, who finished, of course, in P3. We are waiting on joining out on track. But Mark, before obviously we end off the stream and before we get into the interviews as well, who for you was driver of the day?
Oh God, I'd probably say the man in the party. Actually, to be honest, that was just clever. More for his the intelligence he had towards the end of the race. I can't invite Montana. I need to add him as a friend because I don't think he allows people to add him who isn't his friend. So if you could blue screen just for a second, if that's all right, to invite him in.
I will definitely try that. I will have to, I think, add him as a friend as well, because I don't have him added as a friend. So I think we're both in the bit of a situation. Unless Jensen has got him added as a friend, maybe. Terrible. No, it was Verstappen who added him last time. Oh no!
I don't think Daniel would
Oh
know.
no! I cannot add some players because of their settings. And yeah, it was
Well, if he
Daniel
adds me-
finishing P3, not Campbell. Sorry.
If he adds me as a friend very quickly, if he's listening to this, then I can put him in.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
driver of the day, just to remind.
I'm going to say IFR Jensen. I am, and I'm not just saying that because he's here, because I think that was a very...
Ah. He did win D1.5. Montana has just managed to add me, so hopefully we'll be able to get him in now. I will do that very soon indeed. Daniel, I think, is not comfortable with interviews, if I'm not mistaken, so that's why he doesn't really join these interviews, which is totally understandable. Of course, it was a bit of a shame because obviously he won in Austria and then has backed up another good performance again tonight here in Belgium to finish in P3, and we'll now get Montana in. He has now been added to the party, so hopefully he'll be joining very soon indeed. You can probably hear, by the way, that my voice is going, so I really hope we're going to rattle through these interviews quickly. Montana has managed to join us now in the commentary box. Another P1 dominating win out on track. How did you find that?
I told you last week. I'm gonna do that, so don't make me angry again. Ariel. Yeah, that was an interesting one. That was smoother than I thought, and this last minute setup change worked really well.
Yeah.
Last minute setup change. Oh, go on, Mark, sorry.
So he pulled 3 seconds in a lap. 3 seconds after the safety car.
Yep.
That was literally the maddest thing I've seen in a long time. And it wasn't on any one pony, it was on Neo. You know, like Neo's a quick guy, he's no slouch. Like that must have been one of your best laps in a race setting for a while, no?
Yeah, I don't know what Neo was doing on that lap. I was just pushed as much as I could. Used my low downforce setup to the best. And yeah, obviously staying out helped a lot with the fresh tires. I was surprised I was the only one. I needed to do it so just to cover off any safety cars, which happens, and anything else. And I knew with fresher tires I could re-overtake them and pull the DRS gap again. And then I did a little tactic at the restart, and apparently Neo didn't really want to go with me, so yeah, quite smooth from then onwards. Just tried to get the 10 seconds really for the lulls, and yeah, enjoyed it.
I thought Mark was going to ask a few more questions there.
Oh no,
Sorry.
I can. No, I was waiting. I was going to let you interject. No, one thing I kind of wanted to know, strategy-wise, you talked about going late. Was that to cover off the medium runners more than anything? Because you always had a pit stop on Neo, even when you stayed out. Was that that kind of the plan? Just to make sure that you didn't get stuck behind them and that you was in the box seat versus them, not just the guys you were competing with on the softs.
Yeah, to be honest, I was really expecting a safety car all race long, but yes, at the same time I was just also staying ahead of the medium runners by a lot, so I just could react to everything what happened. It obviously cost me a lot of race time if there wasn't a safety car, but it was just a safe thing to do, and the sacrifices you have to make when you lead after the first stint.
Did you know that you had? Did you have someone engineering that was telling you the gap to Neo?
No, I didn't have anyone engineering except for you and James. I had you in my ears today.
Oh, well, I told you. Because I definitely told you at one point. Yeah,
Yeah.
there we go. Back me later.
Yeah, but I also calculate, you know, when I'm practicing, I calculate in the first sector or any reference point around the track. If I see them on the map at that point, I'm gonna come out there and there. So I think I was about the same-ish. I would have come out at the same place as them, probably a bit behind actually. So yeah, I was keeping track of it and do help as well.
You calculate the reference points on track, because I've always thought that was a sensible. That you can calculate reference points on track based on how long they are behind in regards to pit stops, but you refuse to do it on corners to turn that bloody line off. Ridiculous.
Terrible.
One day, give them a chance.
I can't live without the line.
Well, I mean, I think from Mark's advice, the fee is going to be in the post sometime next week, I would imagine, given the reference points that he's been given, obviously within the commentary. Obviously going into the week's break, obviously a relief for everyone, but looking ahead into that, obviously we've got Monza 2 weeks' time. How do you think you're going to get on around there? Because I know you're quite quick around there.
New Monza is horrible. It's horrible. I don't know if you've driven it yet, but you can't take any of the chicanes anymore. Like, you can't take turn 1, 3, 4, 5, nothing. And yeah, it's gonna be interesting, but I'm feeling confident. When I did a race there, I didn't have race pace, but I had a really beautiful setup. But yeah, I hope it's gonna be right.
Marking those words, I think now that Montana is probably going to hold the world record in 2 weeks around Monza.
It's not possible anymore. It's not possible anymore.
Not
it's
possible.
4 tenths slower. It's 4 tenths slower than New Monza, and they didn't really erase the leaderboard.
Yeah, well, that's a shame, to be honest. But obviously, looking ahead into Monza, it's going to be a fantastic race. Go and enjoy your evening, though.
Thank you. You too. I love you, James. And I like you, Mark.
Oh, I like it. I like it. You've earned a lot of respect now from me, Montana. Go and enjoy your evening. And now we'll move on, of course, to Jensen, who finished round in P2. And obviously, goodbye there to Montana. Jensen, P2 for you. How was this drive for you, honestly? P2 in LOE is like literally Christmas coming early.
Yeah, I didn't. To be honest, if you asked me, I'll be up here talking to you guys this season. If you asked me mid-season, I wouldn't believe you for a second. But yeah, pretty cool, I guess. It was quite an interesting one, especially with Neo and Campbell throughout. I was literally the entire race, I was trying to find a gap to get through. I was like pushing on the straights and I see them coming close together and I was trying to find a gap, but they were just, yeah, getting the swaps pretty nice. It only came together at the end when I found the opportunity, and one of them were forced to back off and I had the energy to get Campbell at the end when he had no energy. Yeah.
How long have you been league racing, if you don't mind me asking?
Say again?
How long have you been league racing, if you don't mind me asking?
2.5 years now.
Okay,
yeah,
that makes sense. Because it just looked, it was very clever, because it looked like you were just getting them to drain their battery. There was one point, you obviously, where they kind of boxed you in down the Kemmel Straight, I think on lap 19 potentially.
Yeah, and me and Campbell had a little moment where I think he started closing in the braking zone when I was just about alongside, and he just managed to catch the car, and yeah.
But you semi-backed out, which was a key, because I know a lot of people there that would have stuck their nose in, kept it in, and thought now or never, probably span, and ended up 10th with a good story, but nothing else to show for it. So I was very impressed. I think me and James were both impressed. James actually highlighted you way before myself and said that this guy's got the pace. You and Daniel. And yeah, it was very impressive to look at. But look, I mean, you've got some hell of a pace. I've not seen you about too much in other places. I think you've got a podium in PSGL event, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
I did for a brief amount of time until someone got their penalty, but yeah.
Oh.
I mean, this season, of course, you've probably seen by the results, and my award for the worst driver with 100% attendance is not been great. With 10 points coming into this race, I mean, Portugal is a big one. I didn't even practice for Portugal when I came into practice for the wrong track, but practice for Spa, got to qualifying, and I think maybe the safety car may have saved me or brought me closer to Neo and Campbell. I don't know if I would have caught up to them, but yeah, like you said, just bided my time. I mean, of course I tried to go for moves, but yeah, in the right moment I managed to get it done. Yeah, I mean, yeah, P2 is awesome, so
fair play to you. Look, anything you want to add, James, at all?
Yeah, just the final question that I normally ask people. Obviously, week's break, everyone looking forward to that. But beyond that as well, Monza in 2 weeks' time, how do you think you're going to get on around there?
I mean, Monza's like a on and off track for me. I've had decent success in other leagues at Monza, so I mean, it's mainly just about being in the right place at the right time in the trains and stuff. But yeah, try and get some decent points again. Try and carry on this streak of good luck, and yeah.
Yeah, that's good, obviously, to see you not retire tonight, otherwise there's last night in Singapore, sadly.
Yeah, yeah, I was
no need to rub it in, jeez.
there, so.
Poor lad, he's just come second in a race, sweating his absolute head off against 4 other absolute killers, and you reminded him about DNF?
I mean,
I dare not remind you, honestly, of it, honestly. Oh.
This definitely makes up for all the results this week, and yeah, probably one of my best results so far this year, and it's one of the toughest grids on PlayStation to drive against, so yeah.
Yeah, hopefully you'll continue the form up as well going into Monza. As you say, you've had relatively good degree of success around there in Monza, so hopefully we might be seeing you again here in 2 weeks' time, but go and enjoy your evening.
Yeah, cheers for the comms, you guys as well.
Cheers,
Very
mate.
welcome. Yeah, very welcome indeed. And that is the end for tonight here, of course, in League of Europe Division 1. Fantastic racing by all. Very, very relatively good, clean driving standards as well. Obviously, Nathan's incident might get investigated. A few other things might get investigated as well, which you might have not caught on stream as well. But hopefully, you really enjoyed that. And we're now on to our week's break, of course. But if you do want to watch more action and you want to watch Mark Bottle in Division 2, you can do that. Division 2 and Division 5 in about 10 minutes' time, live on the League of Europe channel, 8:10 UK time. And then, of course, we've all got 10 PM F1 qualifying to get us underway as well. And I'm going to be off to watch the W Series as well, which is probably not complacent to everyone, but there's live racing on Channel 4, or on More 4, and I'm literally living for it. So, there we are.
That's a good little tip. No, cheers for that. I didn't know that. So I'll be doing the same after, with some Professor Peppy, and hopefully a little podium trophy for 3rd place at Belgium. We can dream.
If I'm not mistaken as well, the W Series race is on at 9:25 UK time, if I'm not mistaken. So around then, maybe a little bit less in terms of the timing, but 9:25 UK time. There is a championship fight going on in that series as well, between Jamie Chadwick and Alice Powell, who are starting second and 10th, respectively. But that is it. But enough of us hitting up the W Series. Thank you for watching League of Europe Division 1 tonight, of course. Big thank you to Mark for joining me in the commentary box. Big thank you to all the drivers that competed, and well done, of course, to our top 3, Montana, Jensen and Daniel. And we will see you fresh from our tanned break in Italy in 2 weeks' time for Monza, for the first double header, actually, of the season in any country. It is, of course, Monza in Italy. And then, obviously, Imola as well. So hopefully it is going to be fantastic. But we will go lights out in about 10 minutes time for Division 2 and 5. Tune in for that. If you did like the stream, like, comment, subscribe, tick that notification bell, of course, if you are new. I'm waffling on. Thank you for watching, and until next time, goodbye.